Hello and welcome back to Pass the Turn. Today I'm going to be going through my Vilis Broker of Blood deck tech for EDH Commander. This deck is all about siphoning your own life away to draw loads and loads of cards and then ultimately swapping your life total with somebody else. So all that damage that you've inflicted upon your fractured soul will be given to somebody else. Before we go into it, please make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do all sorts of different Magic the Gathering topics, from EDH, set reviews, deck techs, upcoming cards, all sorts of different things going on here. So make sure you click that little bell notification as well if you want to be notified of any future content. And we're going to be delving into more tabletop games as time goes on. But yeah, make sure you stay tuned. So Vilis, Broker of Blood, a massive 8/8 flying demon which costs 3 black and 5 others. So it's a big creature, very, very high CMC, and it's a fantastic commander. It's 8/8 flying and it has an activated ability of pay 1 black and pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, so it's a bit of removal on there as well if you've got the mana and the life to spare. However, it's tacked on text. Whenever you lose life, draw that many cards is one of the most ridiculous abilities I've ever came across on a static commander. So we're going to delve into the synergies with that in a moment. But Vilis on his own, an 8/8 flying demon with whenever you lose life, draw that many cards, and a potentially removal suite on there as well, is just a recipe for ambition in black. So, Vilis, Broker of Blood, a very, very high CMC commander. We want to make sure that we get him out as soon as possible. So we've got a whole suite of ramp cards in this deck. So we'll kick it off. The 1-drops are obviously your Soul Ring. It costs 1, it taps for 2. What else do you need? Then we've got a Mana Vault. Costs 1, taps for 3. And it doesn't untap unless you pay 4 to untap it, and if it's tapped, it will do damage to you. But if it does damage to you when Vilis is out, you're going to draw a card. So again, a fantastic include. That's Mana Vault. Then we have Sword of the Animist, 2-drop equipment spell. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, costs 2 to equip, and whenever an equipped creature attacks, you may search library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped. So again, you just want to equip this to a little creature, keep swinging, getting your lands. Good card. Then we have a treasure map. So this is sort of a rock because it turns into a land later, but you pay 1 and tap to scry 1, so it gives you a bit of insight in the meantime. Then you put a landmark counter on treasure map. Then if there are 3 or more landmark counters, you remove those counters, transform it, and create 3 colourless treasure artifact tokens with tap, sacrifice, add 1 mana of any colour, and it turns into a treasure cove, which taps for colourless, or you can sacrifice a treasure to draw a card. So again, a bit of insight and mana ramp as it evolves. Then we have a Mind Stone. It's simply a 2-drop artifact that taps for 1 colourless mana, and then you can pay 1 and sacrifice it to draw a card if you need. Unstable Obelisk costs 3 mana. It's an artifact, taps to add 1 colourless to your mana pool, and you can pay 7 and sacrifice it to destroy target permanent. So again, could come into effect late game to get rid of a pesky thing on the field. Then we have a Palladium Mirror, which is a 2/2 body, and it taps to add 2 colourless to your mana pool. So it's very similar to this card, Worn Power Stone. This enters tapped though, and adds 2 to your mana pool. So Worn Power Stone and Palladium Mirror, very, very similar, just one's a body and one's not. Then we have Everflowing Chalice. This costs 0 and you kick it. So you multi-kicker it for 2. So normally you pay 2 mana for this, potentially 4 mana, and it comes in with that many charge counters, and it taps for however many charge counters are on it, basically. So that's good, good ramp spell. Urza's Incubator. So this costs 3 artifact. As it comes into play, choose a creature type. In this deck, it will be demons, and then demons of Magic the Gathering universe will then cost 2 less to play. That does include everyone, but hopefully a lot of people aren't running demons when you're playing demons, so all of your demons will cost 2 less to play. Next is Basalt Monolith. It's a 3-drop artifact, and it taps to add 3 colourless mana to your mana pool. It doesn't untap during the untap phase, but you can pay 3 to untap it. So normally you just pay 3, get it out on turn 3, and you never ever untap it again after that, normally, most of the time. 4-drop Thran Dynamo, simply an artifact that taps to add 3 colourless mana to your mana pool, so again puts you ahead on turn 4 if you play it. Then we've got Hedron Archive, similar artifact, costs 4 to play, it taps to add 2 mana to your mana pool, but then you can pay 2 and sacrifice it and tap it to draw 2 cards if it served its purpose. And this isn't really a mana ramp spell, but it's just a ridiculous artifact, and that is Bolas's Citadel. So you can look at the top card of your library at any time, and then you can play the top card of your library. It's sort of rampy in a sense because you pay your life instead of that spell's converted mana cost. So if I had a Archfiend of Despair on there, which costs 8, I can pay 8 life and play that Archfiend of Despair without paying its mana cost. And then obviously it also has an awesome ability, tap and sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. So again, that could be used in a worst case scenario, but an awesome card for its cheating of mana cost for other things. And then we have some non-artifact ramp. So we've got Dark Ritual. This costs 1 swamp and it adds 3 swamps to your mana pool. We've got Bubbling Muck. It costs 1 swamp and it adds, and it says, until end of turn, whenever a player taps a swamp for mana, it produces an additional swamp. So again, it just swamp doubles for 1 single mana, which can be really, really good. Can accelerate you massively. Then we've got a Vesper Ghoul. This is a zombie druid. It costs 1 black and 2 others, and you tap and pay 1 life to add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. But again, if Vilis is out, you're going to tap, pay 1 life, draw a card, and then add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. So again, just another way of ramping, and when Vilis is out, drawing a card for nothing. Then we have Cryptghast. So this is a 2/2 creature spirit, costs 1 black and 3 others. It has Extort, so whenever you cast a spell, you may pay white or black. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain that much life. So again, it's a good way of getting your life back up if you do have extra mana to spend by extorting spells, which is good. And again, whenever you tap a swamp for mana, it adds an additional swamp to your mana pool, so a good swamp doubler. Then we have Liliana of the Dark Realms. This is mainly a ramp card, so it's +1. It's Planeswalker. Liliana costs 2 black and 2 others. Enters the battlefield with 3 loyalty. +1. Search library for a swamp. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. -3. Target creature gets -X or +X until end of turn, where X is the number of swamps you control. So potentially removal or potentially buffing a creature. And then it's -6. It's absolutely ludicrous. You get an emblem. With swamps you control, have tap, add 4 black to your mana pool. So all of your swamps then turn into Lakes of the Dead. Lake of the Dead, another land I do need to add at some point. It's not on the list. And then finally, the last mana ramp spell is Magus of the Coffers. This is a human wizard, 4/4, costs 1 black and 4 others. And then you can pay 2 and tap to add a swamp to your mana pool for each swamp you control. So it's basically a Urborg. Not Urborg, Cabal Coffers on a creature. So fantastic card. So that is a lot of ramp and also different utility as well. But you do need a lot of ramp in this deck because of the sheer amount that some spells will cost. So going on to the second biggest part of the deck, and that is drawing cards. So first of all, we've got a suite of demons that will draw you cards. So first of all, we've got Katothrid, the Soul Holder, one of my favourite cards, actually. This costs 2 black and 4 others. It's a legendary creature demon, 6/6 flying. And whenever a permanent owned by another player is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So whenever a permanent is put into a graveyard owned by another player, you get to draw a card and you lose 1 life. But if Vilis is out, you get to draw a card, lose 1 life, then as a result of that life loss, you draw another card, because Vilis, whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. So again, it synergizes with Vilis in that respect. So that's Katothrid, the Soul Holder. Then we have Sizan, the Perverter of Truth. This is a legendary creature demon spirit. It's a 6/5. It costs 2 black and 3 others. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards. So it's a fantastic way of forcing action, because it forces card draw on your opponents. So they always have a stacked hand because of this. But on your turn, you're going to draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, Then, because of that life loss, if Vilis is out, you're going to draw another 2 cards. It's absolutely ludicrous. So if Sizan's out and Vilis is out, you're going to be drawing 5 cards a turn at the cost of, obviously, the 2 life that you're losing from Sizan. But you're going to draw your card for turn, you're going to draw 2 cards from Sizan, then you're also going to draw 2 cards from the life that you've lost off of Sizan. So drawing 5 cards a turn is pretty strong. That's Sizan, Perverter of Truth. Then we have Indulgent Tormentor. This is a 5/3 flying creature demon, costs 2 black and 3 others. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card, unless a target opponent sacrifices a creature or pays 3 life. So it's a good way of picking on a weaker opponent who doesn't have a creature or can't afford the life loss to allow you to draw an additional card, which is always good. Then we have one of my old commanders, actually, Demon Lord Bells and Lock. This is a 6/6 flying trample legendary creature, Elder Demon. Costs 2 black and 4 others. When Demon Lord Bells and Lock enters the battlefield, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Then put that card into your hand. If the card's converted mana cost is 4 or greater, very, very likely in this deck, repeat that process. Demon Lord Bells and Lock deals 1 damage to you for each card put into your hand this way. So every damage that these Demon Lord Bells and Lock does to you is a card that you additionally draw if Vilis is out. So again, synergies all around there, and Demon Lord Bells and Lock drawing me a load of cards in this deck because there's a lot of expensive spells in there. Next we have Blood Gifts Demon. So this is a 5/4 flying creature demon, costs 2 black and 3 others. At the beginning of your upkeep, target player draws a card and loses 1 life. So you can Phyrexian Arena yourself if Vilis is out to draw an additional card as well, because you're drawing a card, losing 1 life, drawing a card. You could get 2 cards off of this with Vilis, or you can make someone else draw a card. So a fantastic way of using it to your advantage for politics, and if you don't have the answer, but someone else might have the answer to something horrible on the table, you can target this player to hopefully draw into those answers. So a very, very good utilitarian draw spell. And finally we have Doom Whisperer, which is a creature, Nightmare Demon, 6/6 flying trample, costs 2 black and 3 others. So for that stat block, very, very, very good. Then we also have a activated ability on here, pay 2 life, surveil 2. So this is great. If Vilis was out, you'd pay 2 life, draw 2 cards, and then you'd surveil 2, which is ridiculous. And if you want to pay more life, you can. You can by all means pay 10 life into this if you want, and draw 10 cards and then surveil 2, which is absolutely outrageous. Vilis is just awful if he's out. So yeah, another great card. Another great card there, Doom Whisperer. And we also have more card draw, but this is in the form of instant sorceries and what have you. So we've got, first of all, we've got Necrologia. So this is a instant, it costs black, black and 3. Play Necrologia only during your discard phase. Then you pay X life and draw X cards. So a great way of drawing a shed ton of cards at the expense of life, and you come to see that that is what this deck does. Next is Promise of Power. This is a sorcery. It costs black, black, black and 2, and it says choose 1. You draw 5 cards and lose 5 life. So with Vilis out, that could potentially equate to drawing 10 cards, which is ridiculous. And or you can put an XX black demon creature token with flying onto the battlefield, where X is a number of cards in your hand as the token enters the battlefield. And it also has a Entwine ability, so you can use both of those abilities if you pay 4. So a great utilitarian card if you just want a big demon out, or if you want to draw some cards, or do both if you have the mana, which you should do in this deck. Next card is absolutely stupid, but this deck is very, very high risk and high reward, and that is Infernal Contract. So this costs black, black, black. Draw 4 cards. You lose half of your life, rounded up. Just imagine if you had Vilis out and you played this card. You lose half your life. So let's say you're on 32 life and you play Infernal Contract when Vilis is out. You lose 16 life and then you draw 20 cards, which is absolutely outrageous, because obviously you draw the 4 off of this, then you draw 16 as a result of the life loss because of Vilis. It's just absolutely stupid. Next card, one of the best cards in the deck, Necropotence. This is black, black, black for an enchantment. It says skip your draw step. Whenever you discard a card, exile it instead. So you don't want to be discarding because you just lose the card. But then it says pay 1 life. Exile the top card of your library face down. Put that card into your hand at the beginning of your next end step. So if Vilis is out, you'd pay, let's say, pay 5 life, draw 5 cards, then exile the top, then exile 5 cards, put them into your hand at the beginning of the next end step. Absolutely outrageous card, Necropotence. Stupid card. Next card is a draw spell, but also an alternative win con as well, which can come out of nowhere. And that is Liliana's Contract. So this is an enchantment. It costs black, black, and 3. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 4 cards and lose 4 life. So as a standard card, you draw 4 cards, lose 4 life. If Vilis is out, you draw 4 cards, lose 4 life, draw another 4 cards, so potentially draw 8 cards. And then it also has a tax on ability as an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 4 or more demons with different names, you win the game. So a fantastic way of building up your demonic army and winning just out of sheer power. Demonic power. And the last card in the draw card suite, but it could also be removal and win con as well, the same merit, is Ob Nixilis the Reignited. So this is a Planeswalker Nixilis. Black, black, and 3 enters with 5 loyalty. +1 is you draw a card and lose 1 life. So again, draw a card, lose 1 life. If Vilis is out, draw another card. -3, destroy target creature. Nice little bit of removal. And then -8, target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a player draws a card, you lose 2 lives. So that's basically condemning someone to death when you're playing this deck if you get the emblem. When a player gets that emblem, they're pretty much dead. They're on a ticking time bomb. So that was the card draw suite. Now we have some tutors, albeit they're not the most effective tutors in the history of Magic the Gathering, but still they're good. They still work on a moderate budget. Diabolic Tutor. It costs black, black, and 2. Sorcery. Search library for a card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. Increasing Ambition. Costs 4 generic and 1 black for a sorcery. Search library for a card and put the card into your hand. If Increasing Ambition was cast from a graveyard instead, search library for 2 cards and put those cards into your hand, then shuffle your library. So if you play it for its flashback cost, it costs 8 mana, but you get 2 cards as a result. So this basically tutors for 3 things over the course of a game, hopefully. And then we've got a Rune-Scarred Demon. So a creature, 6/6 flying creature demon, costs 2 black and 5 others. When it enters, search library for a card, put it into your hand, and obviously it can contribute to the if you control 4 or more demons, you win the game clause as well. So let's go on to board wipes now. Only a few in here because ideally we want to retain our creatures as much as possible. So first of all, we have a Havoc Demon. This is a 5/5 flying demon. Costs black, black, and 5. When it dies, all creatures get -5/-5 until end of turn. So it's a pseudo board wipe for small to medium creatures, but again, most of the time it will do a lot of work. And again, it's a demon, so it contributes towards alternative win cons. Then we have Kagimaro First to Suffer. This is an awesome demon. It's a legendary creature demon spirit from the Kamigawa block. It costs black, black, and 3. And Kagimaro First to Suffer's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. So again, it's going to be a huge beat stick. And then you can pay a black and sacrifice it. All creatures get -X/-X end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So I've got a lot of minus stuff in this deck because it gets round indestructible. And again, it just personifies that even an indestructible creature can bow to the will of demonic entities. Then we have, speaking of -1/-1, we have Mutilate. So this is a sorcery, costs black, black, and 2. All creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. So again, mono black, loads of swamps are going to be out in play. So again, getting around indestructible and hexproof and all that sort of stuff because it's all creatures. Then we have another demon, Reaver Demon. It costs black, 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 and 4. And it's a 6/6 flying demon. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, destroy all non-artifact, non-black creatures. They can't be regenerated. So again, a nice one-sided board wipe because all my creatures are going to be black, and it's going to kill all non-black, non-artifact. And also, it's a 6/6 flying body as well, which will contribute to the Liliana Contract. Next, we have life swapping abilities. So life swapping abilities is the stuff that I will be tutoring for if I get a tutor card, and these are absolutely outrageous because throughout the course of the game in this deck you're going to be losing a load of life to your own resources, and then the ability to be able to then give that withered soul to another player is absolutely backbreaking. So we'll go through the swap life abilities now. So the first one is Soul Conduit. This is a 6-drop artifact, and it says pay 6 and tap it. 2 players exchange life totals. So, you know, if you infernal contract yourself for 20 life, you know, you lose half your life, and then you swap it with somebody else later on, that's effectively you've done 20 damage for, you know, 6 mana, which is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It does take a while to get to these sort of effects, but when you do, it is absolutely backbreaking. And again, it's just one of those things that players can't avoid. They can't avoid their life totals being switched around unless they have hexproofs themselves. If they are Ley Line of Sanctity, they can be targeted, but again, they can't really interact with swapping of life totals, which is why it's so deadly in this deck. So that's Soul Conduit. The next one we have is Repaying Kind. Just out and out costs black, black and 5 for a sorcery. Each player's life total becomes the lowest life total among all players. So all that soul siphoning that you're doing will then be embedded on other people. So if you've withered your soul away to draw an insane amount of cards and you're sat on 9 life, you can then pay Repaying Kind and everyone's life becomes 9, and suddenly it's a different game entirely. So Repaying Kind, another fantastic life swapping or life total becoming card. And finally we have Magus of the Mirror. So this is a creature 4/2 human wizard. It costs black, black and 4, and then you can tap it and sacrifice it, exchange life totals with target opponent. Activate this ability only during your upkeep. So again, another way of just swapping your life total with somebody else and just trading that soul away to somebody else who doesn't want it, basically. So that's the life swapping suite that we have in the deck. So another good way to win. Next we have the no maximum hand size suite. So this is absolutely key to victory, is having no maximum hand size, because you're going to be drawing a shed load of cards. So first of all we have a land, that's Reliquary Tower. So this counts as part of the mana base, but having no maximum hand size on a land is absolutely paramount. Then we have Spellbook. So this is fantastic because this costs 0 mana and it's an artifact. You have no maximum hand size, so that is a fantastic card to play. And when you're drawing into loads and loads of cards, if you draw into a Spellbook, that is probably one of the best drops you can get from drawing loads of cards. You can just smack it down straight away and not have to worry about any form of discard. Then we have a mana rock called Thought Vessel. This simply says it's a 2-drop artifact. You have no maximum hand size, add 1 to your mana pool. So that can also be counted as part of the mana ramp suite as well if needed. And then finally we have Venser's Journal. So this is a 5-drop artifact which says you have no maximum hand size. But the really, really good thing about this is at the beginning of your upkeep you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. So that's a ridiculous piece of life gain, as well as a no maximum hand size if you have a load of cards in your hand, which guaranteed you will have in this deck. And finally we go on to the utility cards. So these don't really fit into any sort of category, but they are fantastic either way. So first of all we have a demon called Archfiend of Despair. So he counts towards Liliana's contract. He is a 6/6 flying demon which costs black, black and 6, and it says your opponents cannot gain life. So no life can be gained while the Archfiend of Despair is out. And then at the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to that life the player has already lost this turn, which is absolutely outrageous. So any damage that an opponent has sustained is going to be dealt to them again at the end of each end step, which is absolutely stupid. So a great utility card, and it can cause wins out of nowhere. Next we have another demon. This is called Nightmare Shepherd. This is a enchantment creature demon, 4/4 flying, costs 2 black and 2 others. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 and it's a nightmare in addition to its other type. So it's basically board wipe protection for all of your awesome demons, because demons a lot of the time will have abilities tacked on that you don't want to lose. So again, Nightmare Shepherd will bring them back as 1/1 nightmares, shadows of their former selves, but the demonic entity and the demonic bidding is still happening because their abilities will still be on the tokens that they've been created. So Nightmare Shepherd, an awesome way of deterring board state. The next card we have is Kirik, Son of Yorg-Morth. This is a legendary creature horror minion, 2/2, so it could be a commander, and I'm guessing there's loads of commander decks out there for this as well. So this is 4 generic mana, and then Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black. So you can either pay 2 life or a black pip to get him out for the Phyrexian mana. It's a 2/2 with lifelink. Then it has, for each black in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. And then whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Kirik, Son of Yorg-Morth. So this is Vilis' best friend. If Kirik is out and Vilis is out, you're going to be drawing not only a shed load of cards, but you're also going to be able to cheat a lot of things out with regards to the black mana in symbols and the black mana in abilities. So it says whenever for each black mana symbol in a cost of anything. So Vilis' ability could then be pay 2 life, pay 2 life, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, then you draw 4 cards as a result. Absolutely outrageous, ridiculous card, Kirik, Son of Yorg-Morth. Then we have a great utilitarian artifact, Whip of Erebos. This is a legendary enchantment artifact from Theros. It costs 2 generic, 2 black, and it says creatures you control have lifelink, so a good way of getting some of your life back that you've lost from drawing loads of cards. And then it also has the utility on there of being able to pay 2 black and 2 others and tap it. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of your next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. So it gives you another wave of attack for demons that are in your graveyard, basically. They'll come back for 1 turn. You might get some abilities off of it, but again, it's just one last swing before it is removed from the game, basically. Now we have 2 auras that protect Vilis to a certain degree, and we've got Blessing of Leeches and Soul Channeling. So these will basically give Vilis Regenerate, which is a form of protection. So Blessing of Leeches, you can play at flash speed, and at the beginning of your upkeep you lose 1 life, so that also factors into Vilis, so you'll be able to draw a card each turn in addition because it costs you 1 life at the beginning of your upkeep. And then Blessing of Leeches says pay 0 and regenerate target creature, so you can regenerate Vilis at any time with Blessing of Leeches. And it's a similar thing with Soul Channeling. It says pay 2 life, regenerate enchanted creature. So again, but all this life loss comes in handy because Vilis, whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. So again, that's why they're in there rather than Swiftfoot Boots, Lightning Greaves. That's why they're in there, because they synergize better with the commander. Nice little bit of removal here, or card draw, or recursion. That's Wretched Confluence. It costs black and 3 for an instant. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. You get target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Target creature gets -2/-2 at the end of turn. Or return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So again, you can use it for card draw, you can use it for removal, or you can use it for recursion. So again, a fantastic utility card, Wretched Confluence. Temporal Extortion. This is ridiculous. This is black for a sorcery. When you play Temporal Extortion, any player may half his or her life, round it up. If a player does, it gets countered. And it just says take an extra turn after this one. So players can stop this if they want to half their life. Every time I've played this, a player has actually done that. They have halved their life in order to stop me from taking an extra turn, because taking extra turns in this deck is very explosive. But yeah, so 4 black mana for halving someone's life, it's a good payoff. If they don't want to half their life, you take an extra turn. So again, 4 black mana, well spent for that decision. Then we have Exhibition Map. This is a nice little artifact. It costs 1 to drop. Pay 2 and tap it and sacrifice it. Search library for a land, put it into your hand. So a good way of getting a certain type of land, like a Cabal Stronghold, or Ancient Tomb, or something along those lines. But yeah, just a good way of getting any land that you want to your hand. I normally I normally use it for getting the relic tower into my hand, the stuff that gives me no maximum hand size. That's what I normally use it for. Another great way of draining people, Psychosis Crawler. This is a 5-drop artifact creature horror. Its power and toughness, again, equal to the number of cards in your hand, so it's going to be massive. And whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. So a great way of weaponizing that ridiculous card draw into life lost for each opponent as well. This is a ridiculous card, Thyrexian Processor. This is a 4-drop artifact. When it comes into play, pay any amount of life. Then you can pay 4 and tap, put a minion token into play. Treat this token as a black creature with power and toughness each equal to the amount of life paid at the time Thyrexian Processor came into play. So let's just say I drop this for 4 mana and I pay 10 life into it. If Vilis is out, I'm going to draw 10 cards, which is absolutely outrageous. But then I can then pay 4 and tap it and then put a 10/10 black minion into play, which will then continuously pump out 10/10s if you keep paying the 4 mana. So again, great card for not only losing your own life, but also converting that life lost into huge creatures and huge card draw if Vilis is on the field. Nice little utilitarian equipment, Nightmare Lash. It's a 4-drop artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each swamp you control. So again, it's going to be a huge beat stick in this mono black deck once it's equipped. And the equip cost is simply pay 3 life. So if Vilis is out, pay 3 life, equip, draw 3 cards. Really, really good. An awesome card here in Eternity Vessel. This is absolutely outrageous. This is a 6-drop artifact, and it enters the battlefield with X charge counters on it, where X is your life total. So if it's turn 6, normally comes out around about turn 5, turn 4, if you've got it in your hand. And you want to be playing this as early as possible, because the sooner you get it out, the more charge counters are going to be on it, because your life total determines the amount of charge counters on it. And then whenever a land enters the battlefield, you may have your life total become the number of charge counters on Eternity Vessel. So every single land drop after that is then resetting your life back to the amount that it came in with the charge counters. So again, paying your own life away only for it to be reset back to that charge counter total every time you drop a land is extremely interesting. And then we have some big X spells here in the utility category. So first of all is Bond of Agony. This costs 1 black and X, and as an additional cost to play Bond of Agony, pay X life. Each other player loses X life. So you siphon your own soul into this and your mana to allow everyone else to lose that amount of life. And in so by doing, if Vilis is out, you can then draw X cards, which is just another great bit of synergy there as well. And obviously you're paying your own life away, which can be utilised in swapping your life total later on. So again, great way of doing that. Then we have X Sanguinate, a fantastic mono black card. It costs black and X sorcery. Each opponent loses X life and you gain life equal to the amount of life lost this way. So if you pump 10 mana into that, each of your opponents is going to lose 10 life. That equates to 30 life lost in total. Therefore, you're going to gain 30 life. So a great card, awesome win con. And similar to this card as well, Torment of Hellfire, another win con potentially as an X spell. This costs black and X for a sorcery. Repeat the following process X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. So there's only so many cards you can discard or permanents you can sacrifice before you're going to have to start losing a lot of life. So again, a fantastic way of closing out a game or just dealing some serious damage when you've got the mana to do so. So that was the deck. That's the Vilis Broker of Blood deck. Again, very, very tailored to drawing loads and loads of cards, siphoning your own life away, using that life against your opponents when you swap life totals, then smacking them in the face with big X spells and big demons, potentially winning the game if you control loads and loads of demons with different names, drawing loads of cards, just having the ambition that demons do, and brokering some horrendous deals with your opponents when they don't have a choice in the matter. So that's the Vilis Broker of Blood deck. I'll quickly break down the land base. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different non-basic lands, and all the rest are swamps. No, 7 non-basic lands. Sorry, 7 non-basic lands. First of all, we have Castle Lochthwain. This is a land, obviously. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp, so most of the time it will enter untapped. It taps to add 1 black. But then it also has an activated ability, pay 1 generic and 2 black and tap, draw a card. So it's a nice little draw card on the land. Then you lose life equals the number of cards in your hand. So again, another outlet to lose your own life total, to potentially draw loads of cards if Vilis is out, and then swap your life total later. But again, another way of drawing a card as a worst case scenario. So that's Castle Lochthwain. Then we have some pain lands. These are only in there because later on in the game when Vilis is out, they will equate to drawing a card as well as tapping for black. So first of all, we have Cabal Pit. This is a land from Odyssey. It taps to add black to your mana pool, and it deals 1 damage to you. So if Vilis is out, you're going to tap to add black, draw a card. And the other one is If Near Deadlands. So it taps to add colourless. It's a desert from Hour of Devastation. And it says tap, pay 1 life, add black to your mana pool. So if Vilis is out, tap, pay 1 life, draw a card, add black to your mana pool. And it also has pay 2 black and 2 others, sacrifice a desert. So you can sacrifice this if you want, to put 2 -1/- counters on target creature and opponent control. So it's a little bit of pseudo removal if needed as well. Then we have Ancient Tomb. So again, a fantastic card in this deck, especially because it not only is a land that taps to add 2 colourless, so it's a ramp spell in effect, but it also does 2 damage to you. So that 2 damage can equate to 2 cards drawn. So you tap, add 2 mana to your mana pool, take 2 damage, draw 2 cards. Absolutely outrageous when Vilis is out. Then we have a cheap version of Cabal Coffers, and that's Cabal Stronghold. Probably will get Coffers at some point, but this will do for now. It's never let me down in any case because it taps to add 1 colourless anyway, and then you can pay 3 and tap to add black for each basic swap you control. So, and that couples with, of course, Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. It's not the most efficient way of that combo. I mean, ideally you want Cabal Coffers and Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, but still a good budget alternative. But that is the deck. That is Vilis, Broker of Blood. Or if you want to get really spicy, how about you turn Vilis into Grizzlebrand? No, we tried that. We tried it once. We said, yeah, let's play with banned cards. And obviously I opted for Grizzlebrand in this deck. Paying 7 life to draw 7 cards in this deck is absolutely outrageous. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. If you stuck right through to the end, make sure you like and subscribe. Click that little bell notification if you want to be notified. You can buy any of these cards through our affiliate links, and that will help support us directly. Make sure you check them out in the description box below. But make sure you keep up to date with the channel. Loads of content still coming out, even during this horrendous time of being stuck indoors. Hope everyone is keeping safe. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some value out of it. Let me know if there's anything that I'm missing with Vilis, and any suggestions you might have, drop it in the comments. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.